2012 Nissan Versa with the 1.6 inline 4-cylinder, and today we're knocking out the front brake pads and rotors. Let's get to it. First step will obviously be to remove the wheel. Go ahead and pull the hub off. The hub cap. Remove the wheel. You're going to need to remove the 4 21mm lug nuts. So we'll go ahead and rotate this. Next, let's go ahead and remove the caliper. It's held on by 2 14mm bolts. Next, with the caliper removed, go ahead and check your guide pins. Make sure that they are loose and free of movement like this. They're easy to move, and that they pull themselves back in. Next, we're going to go ahead and remove our brake pad separator. This thing right here, make sure you don't throw these away because often your new brake pads will not come with these. Remove your brake pads, remove your hardware. Alright, next let's remove the caliper mounting bracket. It's held on in the back by 2 17mm bolts. Go ahead and grab your caliper mounting bracket, and we're going to go ahead and install our new hardware. Now for these, it's pretty important to install them before you put them back on, especially if you're doing your rotors, because of this little pin right here, which will be in the way of the rotor, and you will more than likely not be able to install these if they are already installed on top of the rotor. You need to have access to these 2 pins on the inside. Let's see if I can't hold this and get it better. Right here. These 2 pins right here and right here. You have to kind of crush those in there. So just make sure you install these before you put them back on your rotor. So, with our hardware installed, let's go ahead and put a small little dot of brake parts lubricant. This is the purple stuff. I've used it basically my whole career and I really like it. Just give yourself a little dab on these 4 spots where the brake pads will be sitting, and you're good to go. Removing the rotor is pretty straightforward. Sometimes you'll have rotors that have bolts or anything like that holding it on. These do not. Grab yourself a decent sized hammer and hit between the lug studs coming out here. If you're concerned about accidentally hitting one of these and ruining the threads, go ahead and grab your lug nuts and thread those on a couple turns to protect the threads. Go ahead and install our new rotor. And what I like to do to make installation easier is I'll just go ahead and put a lug nut down on this. Just hand tight to keep that rotor nice and flush. It makes installation of the caliper and everything else nice and easy. Reinstall our caliper bracket. And we're going to go ahead and install our brake pads. Now these ones you want to insert at an angle and then rotate as they go in, and they'll pop in like that. Grab our brake pad separator and insert that into the two holes on the brake pads. Now let's compress our caliper. Grab yourself an old brake pad, and I just use my trusty C-clamp. Yes, I know that there are tools for compressing your calipers. They usually last me a couple months at most. This C-clamp has lasted me like 10 years. So do with that information what you will, but I'm just going to keep using a C-clamp. And press that piston all the way back down until you start getting resistance, and then back off. Go ahead and install the caliper onto the caliper mounting bracket. You will more than likely need to press in your guide pins to be able to slide that on. It shouldn't give you too much trouble. You may also need to rotate them because they sit in a very tiny groove right there. It's just a flat groove. So you've basically got like a 50-50 chance that it'll just go on straight. If not, just rotate your guide pins. See? Mine did not want to go on straight, and that made it so I couldn't put the bolt back in. But that's okay, because I caught it and I fixed it. Give these both a good tug. And you're golden. Go ahead and remove your lug nut. And check for any noise. Nice. And the last thing you want to do before you put your tire back on is go ahead and hit the entire brake system with some brake clean. These new rotors, get on the inside of the rotor too. The new rotors are covered in oil when they ship them so that they don't rust while they're sitting on a shelf. And you want to make sure you get that oil sprayed off, or else it's going to smoke a bit when you start driving the vehicle. Other than that, put your tire back on, you're done. If this video helped you out, leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe, and we will catch you all next time.